Welcome to Wisdom Education Services. This is the writing task 1 for the IELTS academic module. As you know, the writing task 1 of the IELTS test needs you to write at least 150 words in the given topic, and the time that you have is just 20 minutes. The minimum word limit is 150 words. However, there is no specific maximum word limit that is given, so you can write up to as much as you can. So let's go ahead and study this flowchart. Now the flowchart explains the process of making coconut candy. Elaborate the process in not less than 150 words. So we have to use a minimum of 150 words. Let's go ahead and study the process carefully. If you see, the first step is filling the wok with coconut juice, igniting the stove, boiling the coconut juice for 1.5 hours. While boiling, stir constantly until it thickens and becomes viscous, or that means thick. The wok is taken off the fire and placed over a used fire. Pour the syrup into the molds or the bowls, and when it is hardened, remove it from the mold. So this is the process that we have to explain in 20 minutes using not less than 150 words. So let's go ahead and start writing the introduction. As you might be knowing, the writing task should be well structured. There has to be a specific introduction, a body, and finally the conclusion. So let's go ahead and write the introduction. Now, introduction will tell us what this chart is all about. For someone who has not seen this figure, we have to explain through the introduction what are we going to explain further. So, the flow chart given elaborates the step-by-step procedure of making coconut candy. So this is the flow chart all about. The flow chart given elaborates, now here we've made a spelling mistake, elaborates the step-by-step procedure of making coconut candy. If you see how many steps are there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can write the entire process consists of 8 individual steps. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with the body of the passage. The first step involves, remember to keep checking your spelling side by side, otherwise at the end you will be under a lot of pressure to revise your writing task. The first step involves filling a wok with coconut juice. Now for those of you who do not know what a wok is like a container. It is not used much in Indian cooking or in common kinds of cooking, but mostly in Asian cooking. So wok is like a container in which you cook things. The first step involves filling a wok with coconut juice. After filling it, after being filled, it needs to be placed on the stove. Now, try not to use words like I or it or we should do this. Try to make it all passive. So after being filled, it needs to be placed on the stove. Ignite the stove, and in the next step, keep boiling the coconut juice for about 1.5 hours. Alright, so ignite the stove, and in the next step boiling the juice, and in the next step boil the juice, or keep boiling the juice, we should mention here. Keep boiling the coconut juice for about 1.5 hours. Now remember, your spellings need to be absolutely correct. Now coconut juice, the spellings should be same and they should be correct because marks are deducted for wrong spellings. Now the next step, what does it involve? The next step involves, if you see here, while boiling, stir constantly until it thickens and becomes viscous. The next step involves stirring the boiling juice consistently. Consistently means continuously or constantly. Why is this done? This is done so that the juice thickens and becomes viscous. Okay, and spellings of viscous should be correct. Now let's go ahead and start with the next paragraph because we have written a lot of information in this one. So we've already covered 4 steps. Now we have to start writing from the 5th step onwards, which is this one. The wok is taken off the fire and placed over a used tire. So let's change the paragraph. The 5th step involves removing the wok from the fire. After removing it, after removing, it can be placed on a used tire. Now we might be knowing that it is placed over used tire so that it can be cooled off. However, that information is not given to us, so it's better not to use that information. Now the 5th step involves removing the wok from the fire. After removing, here we need to put a comma, it can be placed on a used tire. Now the syrup that is present, that is left in the wok, is to be poured into different molds so that it can set. These molds may be replaced by bowls. So because in the bracket it's written molds or bowls, so we've written here these molds may be replaced by bowls. Finally, when the mixture in the molds has hardened, the solidified or the hardened mixture, it's better to use the word solidified because hardened is already used. The solidified mixture is removed from the molds. So this is the body of the paragraph and the introduction. So let's just go ahead and check the spellings. So I think this would be well over 120 words. And now we're just left with the conclusion. So the conclusion should basically sum up whatever we have written in the body of the paragraph and the introduction. Let's go ahead and conclude this writing task now. In the end, it can be concluded that making coconut candy is a complete procedure that involves coconut juice, which is cooked on a stove and allowed to thicken gradually. After it thickens, it is cooled off, or it is kept aside and later poured into molds. It is from these molds that we can take, or it's better to use the word remove, the candy and use it. So this is our conclusion. In the end, it can be concluded that making coconut candy is a complete procedure that involves coconut juice, which is cooked on a stove and allowed to thicken gradually. After it thickens, it is kept aside and later poured into molds. It is from these molds that we can remove the candy and use it. So this is all about this particular diagram. So this is how you should write your writing task 1. There should be an introduction, and different paragraphs must be having a bit of difference between them, some space, so that you can identify. And you should always keep checking for spellings. The main mistakes that students often make is spellings, and taking care whether you write proper words with capitals, or you should not write extra words with capitals like the. There is no need for a capital T over here or a capital N over here, so take care of that. Take care of punctuation and grammar mistakes like tenses or subject-verb agreement or noun-pronoun errors, which are very common. And this is how you should ideally do the writing task 1. Now, in order to improve it, you could introduce some more sentence structure variety, and you could also introduce some special vocabulary that is specific to the topic. However, you should not use any information outside what has been provided to you. So you do not have to use your external knowledge, and no examples have to be given. So that's all for this topic. Keep watching on for more. Thank you.